The security architecture of the Indo-Pacific has traditionally rested on a distinct division of labor where the United States provides the offensive power and Japan provides the defensive shield, along with basing infrastructure. For decades, this dynamic positioned Japan primarily as a consumer of American security and a buyer of high-end military hardware. However, a profound transformation is currently reshaping this alliance. Driven by logistical necessities and shifting geopolitical realities, Japan is transitioning from a client state to an essential industrial partner. This evolution is most visible in two critical developments: the maintenance of United States Navy warships at Japanese private shipyards and the export of Patriot interceptors to the United States. These shifts represent not merely a change in policy, but a fundamental restructuring of the Trans-Pacific Defense Industrial Base. To understand the magnitude of this change, one must first analyze the logistical bottleneck facing the United States Navy. Despite possessing the most powerful fleet in the world, the American naval infrastructure is straining under the weight of maintenance backlogs. Reports indicate that United States nuclear-powered submarines and surface combatants often face delays of months or even years for scheduled repairs due to a shortage of dry docks and skilled labor in domestic shipyards. In a potential high-intensity conflict in the Western Pacific, the ability to repair damaged vessels and return them to the fight rapidly would be as decisive as the number of missiles in the magazine. This reality has elevated the strategic value of Japan's heavy industry. The heavy engineering prowess of Japanese conglomerates, particularly Mitsubishi Heavy Industries and Kawasaki Heavy Industries, is now being viewed not just as a commercial asset, but as a geopolitical one. Under the emerging framework of maintenance, repair, and overhaul, often referred to as MRO, United States warships deployed to the 7th Fleet can now undergo extensive maintenance at Japanese commercial ports. This seemingly bureaucratic adjustment yields a massive operational advantage. By repairing ships in Yokosuka, Yokohama, or other Japanese facilities, the United States Navy avoids the trans-Pacific voyage to shipyards in Hawaii or California. Analysts estimate this proximity saves approximately 3 to 4 weeks of transit time per vessel. In the calculus of deterrence, a month of added presence for a destroyer or cruiser is a significant multiplier of combat readiness. For Japan, this integration offers a pragmatic pathway to strengthen national security without requiring constitutional revisions regarding offensive deployments. It leverages the nation's established strength in monozukuri, or high-precision manufacturing, to contribute to regional stability. The economic implications are equally significant. As the commercial shipbuilding sector faces fierce competition from neighbors like China and South Korea, stable defense contracts for maintenance provide a vital lifeline for the specialized workforce and dry dock infrastructure of Japanese firms. It ensures that the technical skills required to build and maintain complex naval vessels are preserved within the domestic workforce, preventing the erosion of the industrial base. Parallel to the maritime domain, the aerospace sector is witnessing a historic reversal of flow. The decision by the Japanese government in late 2023 to revise the 3 principles on transfer of defense equipment and technology allowed for the export of lethal capabilities manufactured under license back to the licensor country. The immediate result was the authorization to ship Patriot Advanced Capability 3, or PACI-3 missiles to the United States. This transaction is symbolic of the new era, the United States having drawn down its stockpiles to support conflicts in Eastern Europe and the Middle East, found itself in need of immediate replenishment. That Washington turned to Tokyo to fill this gap underscores the high standards of Japanese manufacturing. Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, the primary licensee for the Patriot system in Japan, produces these interceptors with a reliability rate that matches or exceeds the original specifications. By replenishing American stocks, Japan indirectly supports the global security commitments of its ally, while avoiding the political complication of sending weapons directly into active war zones. However, a critical and objective analysis requires addressing the complexities and risks inherent in this deeper integration. While the economic and security logic is sound, the political ramifications are nuanced. Critics point out that by integrating Japanese shipyards into the operational cycle of the United States Navy, the distinction between rear area support and frontline involvement becomes increasingly blurred. If a United States vessel is damaged in a conflict and returns to a Japanese port for repairs to immediately re-enter combat, international law could interpret those facilities as legitimate military targets. This deepens the concept of collective self-defense in practical terms, moving beyond abstract treaty obligations to physical industrial entanglement. Furthermore, there is the question of sovereignty and the autonomy of Japan's defense posture. Reliance on the United States for software codes and black box technologies has long been a point of contention in domestic defense circles. Deepening the supply chain integration could arguably lock Japan further into a dependent ecosystem, potentially stifling the development of purely indigenous platforms. The challenge for Japanese policymakers is to balance interoperability with the United States while maintaining enough independent technological capability to ensure national agency. Moreover, the financial scale of these cooperations must be viewed in perspective. While maintenance contracts and missile exports generate revenue, they pale in comparison to the billions of dollars Japan spends on acquiring American platforms like the F-35 Lightning II or the Tomahawk cruise missile. The trade balance in defense equipment remains heavily tilted in favor of the United States. Therefore, the current shift should be interpreted not as Japan becoming a dominant arms exporter, but rather as Japan negotiating a more equitable standing within the alliance, trading industrial capacity for security guarantees. From a strategic viewpoint, this evolution reflects a broader trend known as integrated deterrence. The United States can no longer sustain the liberal international order solely through its own industrial output. It requires a network of allies capable of co-production and co-sustainment. Japan is positioning itself as the Tier 1 partner in this network. This is a role that aligns with the pacifist constitution's spirit of defense, as it focuses on sustainability and readiness rather than aggression. In conclusion, the narrative of the Japan-United States alliance is being rewritten on the factory floors of Kobe and Nagasaki. The relationship is maturing from a patron-client dynamic into a symbiotic partnership where the shield is as vital as the sword. By opening its shipyards to American destroyers and its arsenals to replenish American stockpiles, Japan is cementing its status as a cornerstone of Pacific security. This is not achieved through power projection in the traditional sense, but through industrial resilience. As the security environment in East Asia becomes increasingly volatile, the ability of Japanese industry to keep the Allied fleet operational and well-stocked may prove to be the most effective deterrent of all. The message to the region is clear. The alliance is not just a diplomatic agreement. It is an integrated industrial machine, robust, redundant, and prepared for the long haul.